And we're back with another episode of the Say Yes Buffalo podcast. The future starts here. And today we have another Say Yes Buffalo alumni spotlight. And I'm so excited to introduce her. Today, guys, we have Jonvier Whittington. Jonvier, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Yes. So this is exciting because we really don't get to see Jonvier's face a lot because she's really busy. We're going to get into what she does throughout this podcast, but we're happy to have a new face here and a new voice and a new story, because that's what's important, like really talking about what Say Yes Buffalo has done for our alum and what you're currently doing. So that's what we're going to get into today. But first, I want to start off at, your early journey, right, in education. So you went to Olmstead High School, which, How was that? Tell me about that. How was it going to Olmstead? Because, you're not in the rivalry argument. So tell me about it.
Right. So I feel like I had a pretty good experience at Olmstead High School. I feel like they did a pretty good job of setting me up for college. The counselors specifically were very helpful when it came to the application process, informing us of what scholarships were out there. Mm-hmm. They definitely really pushed Say Yes from the start. So even before I reached my senior year of high school, like I've been hearing say yes, and I knew I definitely wanted to take advantage of the opportunity.
Mm-hmm. So what year did you graduate from Olmstead?
2015.
2015. Okay, so you were like 2 classes after the first class.
Yeah.
So can you just tell me a little bit about what the scholarship meant to you when you heard about it in high school?
Oh, when I heard about it, I was very excited initially. Just hearing free tuition, mm-hmm. the idea of being able to have full tuition.
The free got me too.
Yes, absolutely. I'm like, that's a huge, lifts a huge financial burden off of me, off of mm-hmm. my parents. So immediately I knew, I'm like, if this is something that's available to us, I absolutely want to take advantage. Mm-hmm. So when it came, my time to consider colleges, mm-hmm. I definitely knew that I wanted to consider options that had Say Yes available. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how my journey started with it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so we know that obviously you said you went to Olmstead and you went to Duville, right,
yes.
for your bachelor's degree. I'm sorry. Okay. So you went to Duville for your bachelor's degree. Did you know that you wanted to go into nursing entering into college?
I actually did. Yes, I did know that I wanted to go into nursing. I had some personal experiences with my family where mm-hmm. we had encounters in healthcare and seeing what the nurses did and how they made me feel. I'm like, I want to do that for mm-hmm. other people. Like, I really want to be there on what could be the worst day of someone's life. I want to be a support and just provide that empathy for them. Mm-hmm. So I did know that that's what I wanted to do. That's what I applied for. When I applied mm-hmm. to Duville, I applied to some other area schools as well, but they all had Say Yes as a option.
So that's what I was going to get into as well. So I wanted to just kind of smooth right into that piece, right? Because you said the scholarship, as you all know, it lifts a huge financial burden, right? So nursing school is not cheap. Yeah, we know that. Yeah. So being able to have the scholarship and go to Duville, I'm obviously like where you're at now, we're going to get into your current career, but you use it to the best of your ability, correct?
Oh,
so
yeah.
What was a prominent moment for you in or at Duville?
Oh, wow. I'd have to say, I don't know if I can pinpoint. Actually, I can pinpoint a specific moment. That would be dishonest. Yeah. I actually had received a couple awards at Duville, specifically the St. Catherine of Alexandria Medal, which is awarded to undergraduate students. And just having those, knowing that I left like an impression there amongst like my peers and faculty, it made me feel good, you mm-hmm. know, and then to be able to say that I went there and I did what I set out to do. Mm-hmm. Like, I wanted to get my degree, I wanted to become a nurse. Mm-hmm. So to also have that, the reason that I was able to participate in the extracurriculars and other events and activities that helped me make those connections and network was because I didn't have that financial burden that Say Yes had lifted. You know, I was able to really immerse myself in the college experience. I was able to live on campus as well, which wouldn't have been an option if I didn't have Say Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really elevated my college experience overall.
Yeah. Shout out to Say Yes.
Yeah, shout out to Say Yes, seriously. Yeah.
For sure. And so I think that that's a great point as well, right? So you got to make an impact on campus, essentially leave a legacy for yourself, and then also be able to get the experience of living on campus. Like, that's a whole different ballgame that a lot of people don't get because of the cost. Obviously, if the tuition was lifted, then you were able to, you know, financially be stable as far as living on campus, right? So can you just talk a little bit about what living on campus was like? Did you participate in clubs? Like, what are those? Talk to us about that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So my mom actually convinced me to live on campus. So shout out to her as well.
Shout out to mom.
She has said, you know, you got Say Yes, so your tuition is taken care of, so you should really take advantage of this opportunity. She's like, you're living locally, like you're staying local anyway, so just go live on campus, see what it's like. If you don't like it, you know, after the first year, you can just come back home and commute. And I actually ended up loving it, and I lived on campus all 4 years of my undergraduate program. But I absolutely got involved in student government, the new student orientation program. I actually led that for 2 years, which was like one of my favorite experiences there.
Can you tell us what that is, just so people who are listening, if they don't know?
Yes, absolutely. So for the new student orientation, that is specifically for new students, attendees, whether they be freshmen, you know, their first time in college, or transfer students that were coming to DUVO. We would orient them to campus, to their program, register them for their first semester of classes, give them campus tours. It was just a really fun experience. They the freshmen specifically would stay overnight in the dorms, and we would split them up into teams and have different games and icebreakers. It was just a really fun experience, and it had an impression on me as a freshman, so it was nice to be able to then
give back.
We were orientation assistants. That was our official title.
Yes, that's beautiful. So even going into that, right, you were able to participate in a lot of things on campus, and it sounds like even you said student government, right?
Yes.
So I want to get into this current you. Well, current you, so you also taught at DuVille, correct?
Yes.
So you taught nursing at DuVille as well?
Yes.
Okay, and then now you are at Niagara University teaching. Yes. So obviously you went to DuVille to become a registered nurse, which you accomplished. Tell me when that shift, or when you recognized that you wanted to really get into advocacy, because I know that is where you are right now. Like, obviously teaching is a form of advocacy as well, but what was that moment that you noticed that was like, no, like something needs to change in this field of work? You know, you became a registered nurse, but you seen another need elsewhere, and that's where you are now. So tell me about that point.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was in my, working on my undergraduate degree, I knew, I had an inkling that I was going to return to school at some point. I just had a feeling I wasn't done.
Just didn't know what capacity.
Yes, right. I wasn't sure. I wasn't exactly sure that I wanted to go back and be like a practitioner or an advanced provider. I wasn't really sure if that's where, I should be, but I knew that I wanted to go further. And initially, of course, as I moved through the program, I saw that there was a lack of educators that looked like me.
Yes.
I think I maybe had 1 or 2 Black educators during my undergraduate program. And representation is important. We know that it's really important. And my last semester of my undergraduate program, one of the advisors in the Career Center had heard about an opportunity for senior nursing students to teach sessions, basically like tutoring sessions to other nursing students at Trocaire College. It was a program where they were actually paying, individuals to come teach. And I thought, wow, that would be like a really interesting opportunity. And the fact that my advisor thought that I would be good for it as well. I'm like, I'll try it out. Yeah, it was good to have that encouragement. So I went and I tried it and I loved it. It was a really good experience with the students. They gave me really good feedback as well. And I realized that I kind of had a passion for it. And it came a little bit easy to me, easier than I thought it would.
Yeah.
So that was kind of where I got like my first touch of like, wow, maybe I could be an educator. So then fast forward the end of my last semester, when I wrapped up at Trocaire teaching there, one of the graduate faculty members had approached me, Dr. Dunford, and she had said that there was a grant that was coming down the pipeline because there was a shortage of nursing faculty.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, how interesting. I just wrapped up this program at Trocare, realized that I had an interest in teaching, and there's a shortage of educators, but specifically educators that look like me. And I knew, I'm like, I have to take advantage. It's similar to the Say Yes opportunity. I'm like, I can't,
advantage.
Yeah, I can't let this sit on the table. I have to take advantage of it. And I'm like, I'm finishing up undergrad, so I'm still in that student mode. So I transitioned right into my graduate program there in nursing education at DuVille. Yeah, so I got both degrees from there.
Okay, so you taught at DuVille, you taught at Trocare, and now Niagara University.
Yeah, so Trocare, I wasn't officially an educator yet. Like, I was still a nursing student. Yeah, but I was
you still got the
finishing
experience.
Yes, that was my initial experience in education. Yeah.
So what would you say, obviously being a nursing professor, being a woman of color that is an educator, what impact do you have on the students?
I would like to think that I make an effort to bring conversations to the table specifically about the patients that they're going to be caring for, right? As nurses, we don't get to pick and choose our patient population. No matter what area you work in, you are going to encounter people that don't look like you, whether it be, ethnically, culturally. We come from different backgrounds. So I feel like, just off of me being a Black woman first, I'm coming like, you're going to be taking care of people that look like me. Yeah. Okay. And we're going to check our biases. This is an opportunity to do this. Because a lot of times I've learned, specifically working with individuals, just how I come from a different background. They come from a different background. Maybe an individual's background was a little bit more sheltered than the student sitting next to them. So a lot of times I found that biases aren't always intentional, and they may not realize that they harbor them. But you're going into healthcare, we're not going to make someone's worst day even more traumatic than it already is. We want to come with empathy. It's a very challenging career, but it's also very rewarding. But we want to make sure that we're being trauma informed and just being respectful of and understanding the gravity of what we're stepping into.
I think that's really important, and it's interesting that you do that though too, because obviously you don't think that you going into a nursing program you're going to learn about biases and things of that nature, right? So I think that obviously your students are definitely better for it, because when they do get into the field, they know how to approach certain situations or check their own biases, right? I think that that's important, because you have to think about like how many nursing teachers or professors are not teaching that, right? Yeah. So how many nursing students or newer, registered nurses are going into the field not prepared for certain biases, or just working in certain areas that they're not used to and don't know how to check their own biases, right? Absolutely. I think like that's definitely important. And also like, even now in this work capacity, right, in your field, you're still supporting like the Say Yes mission. You're still like helping to bridge the gaps and help people to understand one another, especially because like a lot of times like we're servicing our people.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that is definitely important. And I want to get into like so you got a 30 under 30 award. You've published a few articles, right? So talk about that a little bit. Like, it's just so exciting to see a fellow alum just continue to just soar and climb up that success ladder. Like tell us, like, what was your processes when you were writing the articles, and then what's next?
Well, as far as, so I haven't published like any official articles. Okay. My master's thesis was specifically on the benefits of increasing diversity in nursing education. So kind of going back to what we talked about, like putting emphasis on those biases and why it is important for us to be in those spaces. And I definitely try to carry that over into the classes that I teach and things like that. As far as what's next,
hold on, let me see. It's okay also that it's not published like officially. Your articles are published though. People read it, people see it, they need to hear it, they need to understand it. So don't sell yourself short. Okay. True, yes. All right.
Yeah. Thanks. I appreciate it. But as far as what's next, honestly, I'm pretty content right now. you know, at one point I had considered like maybe I want to go back for my doctorate, maybe I want to, but I feel like right now I'm just enjoying like living in these answered prayers. Like, you know,
I love that.
A few years ago, I'm like, I really want to be an educator, you know, and a few years, I really want to be a nurse. Like, I really want to help people. And it's so many things, you know, that I was just praying so hard for. Like, now I'm really living in it. So I have a bad habit of doing that. Of course, it's important to look to the future and to have those long-term goals, but I feel like for the longest time I've been so like, I got to get this done. I got to get this done. And I'm trying to remind myself to just enjoy like what's happening right now. So yeah, I actually don't know what's next, but I feel content in that.
Yeah, I think, you know, I would agree. I definitely think I'm in that space too, like just being content where I'm at, because it's like, you know, we focus so much on, you know, what's next and I have to get this done and I have to do this. Okay, I plan to do this by this time, by this date, by this age, right? And it's like, okay, now that you accomplished it, it's okay to just rest and just take it all in and, you know, just take a break. And I think that's where I'm at. Like, I'm not rushing to do anything in this moment. And I think as a young adult it's so important, because like society may say like you have to keep going, you have to keep doing these things, you have to figure out like what's next, right? And you really don't. It's all subject to yourself and what you can handle. And I think you're doing an amazing job. I think you've done an amazing job. And you know, it's her birthday today too, so happy birthday.
Thank you.
But I think it's amazing, like the things that you've done, and I'm not gonna say your age, but you know,
I'm sorry, it's a privilege to grow older.
Yes,
it's all right.
Yes, no, it is. It definitely is. But just, you know, a lot of people aren't where you are. You know, obviously at you know, I don't want to say your age, but
I'm 29
yeah,
today.
it's beautiful.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Exactly.
Yes,
but, you know, young adults, like it's, you know, it's a struggle. And I think that it's important to acknowledge that, but also acknowledge the wins and knowing that, like, you know what you need to do, and just being okay with resting for sure. Is there anything that you want to say that I haven't asked you about yet?
No, I don't think so. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Yes. And it's nice to come and give props to Say Yes, because it really like I don't know that I'd be sitting here if it weren't for that scholarship. So I'm just really grateful.
Yeah. Say Yes really changed lives for sure. Yeah. So I mean, look where you are now. Like, it's amazing, and it's proof that it works.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes. Well, where can people find you?
Find me like
online, or if you have any.
I don't really have public socials. I do have a LinkedIn. I do have a LinkedIn page that is
Good.
public. Yes, under my name, Jonvier Whittington. So that is public. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
All right. And then, do you have any tips for any current nursing students or nursing professors?
Oh, that is very good. So for nursing students, I would say, I know it's much easier said than done, but, you know, when I reflect back on my journey and working through nursing school, I really put myself under a lot of unnecessary pressure. You know, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, take advantage of, you know, if your school offers free tutoring, take advantage of it. Any resources, additional opportunities, you know, talk to other people that have been through the experience as well. They can offer great insight, but just trust yourself. Like I said, take advantage of the resources. For educators, you know, make sure that students are aware of the resources that are available to them. And it's important for us to not lose sight that we were once in their shoes as well, and to remember how anxious we were, how excited we were, and just not to lose sight of why we chose to go into education. So,
thank you. Yes. Those are two great pieces of advice that I hope that the students take and the educators take, because it works. So, and you're proof that it works.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, guys. Well, thank you for this. This was a great episode. I hope nursing students and nursing educators, I hope you were inspired by this conversation and that you choose nursing or choose to advocate. So, until next time.